One. Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every day on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Joining me tonight for the Europa League final reaction. Lads, thanks a million for coming on. I know this is always very, very difficult. I know personally because he did it to us not so long ago, and I know the feeling. We'll start off with Craig anyway, because Craig is our European correspondent representing Villarreal, and he's had Villarreal as his pick as far back as December or even earlier.
Craig is a little European slut. He fucking supports them all in Europe.
Go ahead, Craig. Fill us in.
Yeah, fair play to them for getting to the final. You know, that was me shout back in the day and back before kind of group stage area. And, you know, both teams had a difficult road. Like, United had an equally difficult road to the final. It's not a given to get to the European final by any means, for any team. You still have to do the job and you still have to get there. So credit to United as well. Villarreal tonight, I think, started off very poorly, very sloppy. Tried to get into their shape to stop the lines being played between Bruno and, cutting out the number 10 role, which they did well in that. But when they were coming out with the ball in reverse, they were very poor, gave it away a lot in the first 20 minutes. I was a bit worried for them. You dominated the play and had them boxed in pretty well. Then from a set piece, then I thought it was a good finish. Then from Gerard Moreno, people were saying it was a bit of a scuff finish, but I think he took it very well and put into the far corner.
He knew what he was doing, didn't he? He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I thought they were pretty comfortable, as in they were soaking up a lot of pressure. United were finding it very hard to break them down. Got a good shape again. United obviously kind of pushed on a bit. And then, a deflection falls to Cavani. It happens. You get a bit of luck, you get good luck, you get bad luck. Cavani is so alert and he's so aware he's a predator in the box. He's going to be there before anyone, no matter what it is, He took the finish, and I think after that then Villarreal literally went, into retreat. I thought United kind of bossed it then for the rest of the game. Villarreal couldn't really get out and going. Made a few changes. I think Juan Foyth was a bit lucky on that tackle on Shaw. I think that was very bad when you re-look at it. It was pretty dangerous. Markel obviously know better than myself. From the other angle, it looked very bad. Like,
he was endangering the opponent. It should have been a straight red card.
And penalties, it goes to penalties, and penalties is 50-50. All the penalties were cracking penalties. Comes down to the keepers. What more can you do? You take a penalty and you hope for the best. So fair play to them, Villarreal. Overall, like, I picked them from then, and it came in, but that's my side of it anyway.
Lads, I'm just hearing a bit of a TV coming in there. If anyone has a TV up, I'm not sure.
That could be mine.
That could be mine. Just bring it down just a little bit, Darren, if you like.
I'm happy enough to turn it off, pal, if I'm honest.
That's me dartboard. That's the dartboard making all the noise.
Yeah.
But in fairness, Craig, going back to what you said there about Moreno's goal, he knew what he was doing, but if he doesn't score that, I think it's a penalty because Lindelof is dragging out of his shirt. Did you see it?
Can I just say something as well? Sorry if I cut you, Mark, really quickly. I completely understand United fans' confidence and their own team, rightly so. But nobody gave Villarreal an absolute pot to piss in tonight. And I don't mean just United. I mean in general. The scorelines that I was getting texted today, and I think they deserve a lot of credit because they proved a lot of people wrong all the way through.
I said it in the preview. I said it in the preview, Craig. You can never write them off, especially with Emery at the helm.
He has the blueprint.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like they went by Dynamo Kiev and all this year. They're tough games to get by.
Arsenal
over 2 legs.
The misconception that you put them against an English side, they're automatically beaten, which isn't the case.
And not only that, Craig,
for Liverpool as well.
Arsenal's only goal was from penalty. Pepe penalty.
Yeah, they only conceded 2
over
goals.
180 minutes, like so.
Yeah.
2 away goals all European season, which is incredible.
I think I did mention I think it was one of the Road to Gdansk that we did. I mentioned that I thought it might come down to both managers and not necessarily the players. And as I think we're going to allude to here, I mean, Emery was so shrewd in the way he just bolted the 5 guys out there and really took control of extra time. And in fairness, if you look at extra time, they really had a number of chances to put us away, really, when you think about it. And it was just I suppose it was like the experience of Emery, who's been there before and knows what to do, versus the slight naivety of Solskjaer, you know, who
We've even
hasn't
felt
been
that.
there, you know.
We've even felt that night ourselves
Yeah.
against Sevilla, you know.
And you know something, I thought there was going to be an issue there when he brought on the subs, the likes of Mata and Axel and all. But like the boys stepped up, the penalties were fantastic, and it was their first touches. Like it was unbelievable, like you know.
But I don't know how you feel, lads. But in the 90 minutes, other than that goal, I didn't think Villarreal had many chances. Like your man Torres had that left foot shot from the corner over the bar, but I didn't think they didn't.
I thought they were still comfortable though, you know.
No,
before you got that goal.
Defensively they were. They frustrated us. You could see how frustrated we were. And what pissed me off was you seeing Cavani and Bruno at the referee. Now, obviously, I'm a referee. That's one of my pet hates. Is they're at the referee all the time. Like it's not going to reverse a decision. Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask
that's how they were
yourself and Darren? Do you think the lads like the likes of Pogba, the likes of Rashford, the likes of Bruno, when you turn to the big names, I don't think they stepped up for you tonight?
Well, I felt for Pogba a bit because he's put back in that Fred position, isn't he? And you know, he would have been more creative if he had been on the left hand side. So you know, I think.
And why didn't he change him to the left? You know, he left Rashford out there.
Yeah,
listen. Poor,
hands up in the 90 minutes. I would have took off Rashford, left Greenwood on, put Fred on, let him in beside McTominay and push Pogba out left. But like I said, you're right about the others, the likes of Bruno and Rashford and all. But for Pogba, it wasn't really his fault, I don't think. He's playing in a deeper position. Yeah. You know, when he got the ball, he was spreading it, and that's all he could do. Like, he couldn't really go much further than that.
I thought McTominay was a good player tonight as well.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah, he got stuck in, but he's one of those, like, he's a proper player insofar as he give you 100%.
Yeah, he's hearty. Like,
but he is a little bit sort of stymied in fairness in terms of, you know, his skill, if you like, but he'll always give you. He's an honest player, if you like. I thought, Mark, what you mentioned there about putting Pogba back out onto the left to try and open them up a little bit more. I was sure he was going to make that change at half time when they came out. I was 100% because you were really frustrated going in at half time there, and I was sure a change was coming. I couldn't believe there was no change at half time. Couldn't believe it.
And you could see in Pogba's stature on the pitch, like he looked kind of frustrated. He's like, right, I'm just sitting here. I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to play out the shot. I'm going to play to Wan-Bissaka. He wanted to be up there involved, and obviously he couldn't. The way
I thought your way in was out on the wings because the centre was so compact. You know, I thought maybe getting Greenwood 1v1 or Wan-Bissaka on the overlap or on the other side. If you got Pogba on the left, that was the way in. When you were crossing balls in, he looked a bit more dangerous. You know.
Yeah, no, and you've seen it with the end of the first half in normal time. Rashford, remember he cut in, he done that little flick back and he crossed it over there. Then about a half a minute later, Greenwood had the same opportunity. So we were creating that, but like I said, you have to give credit to Villarreal the way they set up. They were very, very defensively. Yeah. They were sound, like, you know.
Yeah, is Wan-Bissaka a fair shout for your man of the match? I thought he was outstanding tonight.
No, he was, and he put the blocks in and everything. And but like from what you said earlier, probably McTominay, like he was up and down the pitch. He was involved in every area you could ask him to be involved in. So he would have been my man of the match.
And Shaw had a good game as well.
Yeah, Shaw
put in a shift, like, you know.
Yeah, he was, and it's probably frustrating for him because the ball probably in the first half wasn't going out to him as much as he probably liked it. Because it just seemed to get to a stage and it just go back to Boye or Lindelof. But again, you have to give credit to Villarreal for that. You can talk about United playing badly or whatever you want, but you have to say to the opponents that they did their homework and they
have a role to play in it. Yeah, Darren, come on, Darren, come in. You're chomping at the bit there to unload. Go on.
No, listen, it was frustrating, you know. I didn't expect anything other than what we saw, basically. United have struggled most of the season to break teams down. Emery knew he was going to sit the lads deep, and he was happy enough for the ball to go wide, I think, because other than Cavani, we don't have any great headers of the ball up there. We've got quite a small front line, and I think between Torres and Albiol, they were kind of saying, you know, we back ourselves to take Cavani in the air here. We're 2v1 with him. Rashford's not going to score too many headers, neither is Greenwood. I thought McTominay was our best player by a country mile, if I'm honest. I thought he was very, very good. I thought we probably missed Pogba on the left. I was quite surprised, to be honest, that he went with the starting lineup he went with, because I felt it left us nothing off the bench. And I think that's what you're talking about with Villarreal. When I saw the Villarreal team earlier on, I kind of looked for a couple of them, and I thought, he's not playing Gaspar, he's not playing Coquelin, he's not playing Alcacer.
Oh,
He didn't play them.
Was injured as well.
And but he didn't play them because he knew he'd need them off the bench.
Yeah.
So he put guys in, he knew he'd get 50, 60, 70 minutes of, and then he'd change it. That when it got to business time, he had the 11 players he wanted to start the game with, actually finishing the game.
Yeah.
So from a tactical point of view, Ollie was trumped there. When we looked at our bench, how Rashford managed to play the game was, I have no idea. Pogba should have switched to the left. I'm surprised with the way things were so compact that he didn't bring Donny on, because I thought, a little give and go, a little 1-2 on the edge of the box, something like that might have unlocked the defense. A bit of creativity. We really lacked a bit of creativity, and you're lacking creativity, and you bring Fred on, and you're like, Jesus, lads,
here we go.
What are we doing here? Like, it's back to the old thing that United have been playing at home all season against poor sides and playing two defensive midfielders. Why are we doing that? Why are we playing Fred and McTominay in front of our back four? That's 6 players and your keeper is 7. Right? You have 4 attackers then.
Against the likes of West Brom and Burnley at home.
Against Burnley at home, you're like, go out and absolutely steamroll them. Go. You should be playing 1 defensive midfielder in front of the back 4. You go 5 and 5 on the bounce, and you have your keeper behind them, and that's
There was probably an argument for Ollie to do like an Emery, wasn't it, and probably spring Rashford from the bench rather than start him. Because he's been carrying injuries like nearly all season, like, you know what I mean.
I thought he would have sprung Greenwood from the bench, because I think Greenwood does his best coming from the bench. Because he comes on fresh and he's able to avoid challenges, and he's able to get by lads, and he's got very, very quick feet, which means lads have to stand off him, and it puts us in a great position. And I think he missed the trick with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I genuinely thought he was going to play Rashford right, Pogba left, and obviously Fred and McTominay, and then bring Greenwood on, like you said, to make an impact. But I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. It was just, you could see it from the start. It was just, like the commentator said, a yellow wall anytime we were going forward, and we just couldn't create. There was no fluidity. There was no that end product that you want for a European Cup final. All right, we always had the slag and all saying it's a Europa League final, but it's a European final all the same. Like,
it's huge for Ollie. It's huge for Ollie because he needs that trophy. You know what I mean? It's, like you look back on it now and you think, okay, you got over that semi-final hoodoo, but now does it really matter? You go to a final and now you got a final hoodoo. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I don't know about you guys. You'll probably be shocked when I say this, but when it went to penalties, I turned around. I was watching it downstairs at Ben. And I turned around to Ben and I said, "It's a shame a team has to lose," and that's weird coming from me when it's United versus Villarreal. You know what I mean? But I do think it is a shame.
It is, 100%,
because both teams put in a serious shift tonight. In taking fairness,
No, in fairness, I've refereed games from under 11 to under 19 Premier, and when they're finished on penalties, you always have to feel sorry for the teams involved, like, because it's no way to win a game, isn't it, though? When you think about it.
Especially the goalkeepers ending it is even worse on, on either team. It's horrific,
and you rarely see that, don't you know? It's like, the first 5 or 6, maybe 7 at a push. Yeah. But when it goes to 10, 11, you're like, Jesus Christ.
When I was chatting to Ben turned around and he said, "Remember the night we were sitting downstairs and we played Middlesbrough and it was like 14-13 or something. Remember it finished 14-13, something ridiculous like." And I was going, "Yeah, geez, remember that was ridiculous." Like,
that's what they said on commentary as well. Do you remember the Dundalk game in the Europa League qualifier? And it was 14-13. It ended on
something crazy. Yeah, it was mad. Like,
but you have to feel like for the Haye and all, like, imagine, like, he doesn't practice that in training every day of the week, like,
I know the penalties were quite good.
Yeah.
But from a keeper's point of view,
they were bad.
Neither of them covered themselves at any glory.
Yeah.
And not even from a stopping point of view.
He doesn't even play in the league.
They did so much, like, they didn't like, neither of them commanded their line. Neither of them made themselves big. There wasn't enough movement off the line. They weren't, you can't step out off the line once you keep something on the line. They weren't. They didn't narrow the angle particularly well for me either. They needed to be close to the ball.
There was a few close ones though, wasn't there, Mark?
There was.
There was one, Darren, you probably remember. The ball had hit the back of the net before the Haye actually moved. And you're looking
there was, but on that one, I think he actually thought he was going to go down the middle. So he stayed up.
Yeah, because they had a few down the middle, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Parejo, because Parejo's penalty. He actually went and chatted to Parejo. You seen him before the game?
He put the ball down as well.
Yeah, so he was having. He's close friends with Parejo, and he thought Parejo was going down the middle, because I'm sure he was thinking, there was a bit of double Dutch there where he said you're going to go left, and he was saying no, I'm not going. You know what I mean? And he went, I'll go down the middle. So I think he stayed up for that intentionally, and just got caught out with it.
Yeah. My heart, lads, was in my mouth when I seen Alberto Moreno step up for a penalty.
That was my fucking hell.
He took it well in fairness to him.
Bottom corner.
Well, Albiol's penalty was nice as well for a centre half.
And Pau Torres' penalty was unbelievable. Like, just straight up into the top corner.
I think I got sick in my mouth when Luke Shaw hit his.
Oh, Jesus. The hand keeper. Oh, Jesus.
And I wouldn't mind such a short run up, and he was like he was still hobbling, like, and I was there going,
see Fred?
What's happening? Like,
did you see Fred's run up?
My heart was in me mouth when I seen Fred coming up. I was like, worst Brazilian footballer ever.
What's wrong? What's wrong, lads, with just picking a spot and running up and taking your penalty? What's all this jogging crap and all? Like, I know they score.
It's all mind games. It's all bleeding mind games and all.
Absolute nonsense. I suppose the papers will probably go in tomorrow talking about the whole David De Gea, Dean Henderson conundrum is probably going to come true, I'd imagine. Especially with De Gea missing the penalty, but it is a roulette, you know what I mean? Who's to say Dean Henderson wouldn't have missed that? Who's to say Dean Henderson might have saved the penalty? Who knows?
It's all conjecture.
It's all conjecture, really. You know what I mean? But I'm sure there will be questions asked, as there will be questions asked about Ollie at this stage. You know what I mean? But it's I suppose. Look, it's a trophy that he needed, and it's a trophy that you would want to win. You always want to win a trophy if you're in the final of a competition. But in reality, you were second in the league. You're in Champions League. You know what I mean? So the spoils of it are really a little bit more money and a trophy in the bag for Ollie. And, I suppose from his point of view, that's really important. But in the bigger scheme of Man United,
how do you feel, lads, about going forward? Does it affect you any differently, or does it matter? Well, just out of curiosity.
It was only a Mickey Mouse trophy anyway, so, it doesn't bother us that much.
No, it only becomes Mickey Mouse when it's part of a treble. On its own, it's all right.
It's I'd be a little bit put out now, I have to say. Just it's a final. If it's Barnsley and they're playing the LDF trophy, you want to win a final.
Yeah,
absolutely. From schoolboy, from under 13s to whenever, like you want to win a game.
Winning is a habit, and you can create habits like that by winning.
Does this do United a favour in a way, as in people who are already doubting him, or would you rather him? What if he won this and then you're like, oh yeah, Ollie's the man, but then he's not? And then you're like,
no, it certainly doesn't do us any favours, I don't think, I think he's gonna come in for criticism anyway. It not having any kind of success previous to coming into United, he won a league title with Molde in Norway, but I'm fairly sure either of us four could do that. He got Cardiff relegated quite badly as well.
In fairness, he only came in January, Darren. Do you know what I mean? And they were nearly relegated as it was. Like, I think people are.
They weren't in a great spot, but
I think people are harsh on him because of Cardiff.
I think it was more when I look at Solskjaer. I think it's more his approach in terms of you want to go in playing really, really well. You want to enter a final on a high, playing good football. And I think the decisions that he made around the protest and the Liverpool game and the kind of approach that he took there and stuff like that, I don't think it really served him well. He should have just went for all those games and kept the momentum going. And he broke his momentum and found it very hard to get it back. Now, I know you'll tell me last day of the season, you beat Fulham, wasn't it? Wolves. You beat Wolves. But I mean, you put out the second team, and Wolves are in dire straits anyway. You know what I mean?
And I don't think it's necessarily the breaking the momentum of the winning, but I definitely think it's the breaking of the momentum of the team being able to gel and play together. Because there was times tonight when I kind of thought if they'd have had a couple extra games recently together, things might have been a little more fluid. Now, they didn't look rusty per se, but they did look like they could move the ball a little bit quicker, you know. And that's, I think, if you have your tail up after 2 or 3 wins on the bounce, you would have done it.
Yeah.
They looked shattered at full time though, didn't they? After 90 minutes,
You could see the fatigue and extra
they were
time.
absolutely shattered. Yeah, I mean Bruno looked shattered even before that, to be honest. And we've spoke about that already. He's had a hell of a long season and a burden to carry. Maguire badly missed. Yeah, I think it's just
he wasn't, you know, because you know Lindelof probably ends up marking your man anyway.
Yeah, but boy, he was a bit reckless, wasn't he, at times?
I didn't think he did that bad. And I mean, we didn't really be troubled other than the goal. Like, you know, you don't expect the centre-back to stick that ball in the net from the corner, you know. But other than that, like, how many saves did Haye make? I don't think he made one other than that. You know, so it was at one stage, it was defence versus attack, but we didn't have the guile to break the team down. So I don't know whether we can say, you know, Maguire was missed. I was way more worried, you know, about Maguire being missed. And after it now, I'm thinking, you know what, from a back four point of view, we actually did all right. But me worry, you know, what we've missed is going forward. When you look at the changes he got to make towards the end, and he's bringing on Dan James, I'm just like, lads, give us a fucking break, will you? You know, how many players has he beaten this season on a pitch, other than the ball in behind that he goes onto, which Villarreal were never going to give him because they didn't step high enough up the pitch.
But is that not the reality? I mean, not dissimilar to Liverpool, but is that not the reality of where your squad is at? Similar to ourselves with Origi and Shaqiri and
Oxy.
And
100%.
stuff like that. It's the reality of where your squad is at. And in order for us, I mean, obviously we'll have players coming back from injury and stuff like that, but you guys...
You've had injuries?
Yeah, just one or two, apparently. Yeah, wouldn't be half our team now or anything like that. But
breaking news.
Close. But no, but I think you know, in order for us to both teams to try and bridge that gap next season, I mean, the benches need a massive shake-up, in fairness, you know what I mean? And in some respects, the starting 11 on both teams. But I just think I think, Darren, you're right. When you're turning around looking at your bench, and like as you said, Donny was there, I mean, he could have added something. You know what I mean? But if your
he
favorite,
could have quickened the tempo, like technical ability he has, you know what
exactly.
I mean?
And composure as well. Like he's been in that position before with Ajax.
And the funny thing, composure tonight was the big thing, wasn't it? Because people got on the ball, and when they got on the ball, they were wasting it and giving away because everything was rush. I was looking at the game and I was thinking, why are United rushing so much? They've plenty of time here, play their own game, don't get into a dogfight with Villarreal. You know, there's loads of time. Like, they got the early goal in the second half to equalise. There was tons of time to play a game there. Slow it down, take control of the ball, keep possession, let Villarreal work really hard, work the socks off them till they get knackered, and then spring them at some stage, you know what I mean? But instead, they seem to get into this dogfight and this pissing contest with the rest, and it was just a total waste of time. There was a famous game a couple of years ago under David Moyes. I remember at the end of the game, they showed us how many crosses we put in the box. Yeah, because basically all we did was lump the ball into the box, and tonight felt like one of them. You know, we didn't have three-led Ferdinand playing up front. So why did we keep putting the ball in the 6-yard box as if we were going to win headers and score goals? Yeah.
That team that we had tonight was a team that should have been playing 1-2 touch football on the edge of the box, you know, and moving those two big, cumbersome centre-backs. You know, the two, Albiol and Torres did well. Yeah. But if you're going to get at them, you're going to get at them on the deck, and you're going to get at them with lads rolling them, like what the likes of Greenwood did with Mings a few weeks ago at Villa. That sort of stuff is going to work for you. Yeah. We got the ball wide to Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, and they lumped poor balls into the box, and it was food and drink for the two centre-backs.
Yeah, the way we played complemented them, didn't it? Like,
you know, yeah, it did. We made them look good.
Yeah.
I think Pau Torres, though, showed why he's been linked with some of the top clubs. I think he's outstanding. You know, I've seen him a lot. I think his position and his awareness is amazing. You know, Raul Albiol is pretty much aged on his way out, but he has Pau kind of, he's like learning from him, you know, beside him, and he never comes out of position. He's never caught out coming from centre half out either.
Yeah, they work as a real unit.
Yeah, not one works without the other. Like Jared Moreno was coming back to like right back at times to get the ball, you know, and Bacca was coming back as well, like, you know. I
Lads,
thought Pereira had a good game as well.
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty solid.
he was very good in midfield,
Yeah.
Lads, where do you stand with Ollie? Is the project
I'll
still
jump
pushing
out. I'll
ahead?
jump out with this one.
Yeah.
Well, listen, he's won more away games this season than Jurgen Klopp, Dean Fitz. So there you go. That's where I stand with him.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Hashtag injuries. Go ahead.
Is that a compliment?
I think based on tonight, you know, we're disappointed not to be able to lift the trophy, obviously. But you know, we got through the season, we finished in second position. United fans know that we still need 3 to 5 new players to come in. We need the lads from the under 23s, the likes of Solskjaer, Ahmad and Anthony Elanga to come up and get involved in that squad. They're going to be hopefully our periphery for the next couple of years. But we do need to add quality. We need a centre back. We need a centre midfielder, and we need either another attacker or a striker. You know, either be it right or left. You know, if you're going to play Greenwood on the right, that's fine. Then we need someone to play on the left because Rashford can't. I really think, you know, he's stealing and living on the left hand side for us at the minute. I'd be much happier to see the likes of Grealish and Greenwood in behind the Cavani, or if we went the opposite way and you got Sancho on that side. Maybe let's see, can we get Greenwood to come in off the left wing? You know, but I think if we're going into games next season and we're relying on the likes of Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Fred, if we're relying on Dan James, if we're relying on players like
Brandon
that,
Williams,
we're not gonna be anywhere. Brandon Williams is not a bad footballer, you know, and he's a young kid, and he's a right or a left back. You know, he's not there to have, you know, to score goals. He's there to be a solid defender. But if we're relying on the likes of the lads to create for us and to score goals and to go and take games with a scruff of the neck, we're not going to finish any higher than second. You know,
what about
we won't.
The goalkeeper situation, does that have any bearing for you with Henderson or De Gea? Or
Like, for me, it's Henderson's position. You know, De Gea has had his opportunity at United, and unfortunately, and I have to tell you, you know, when they were talking about the last time he saved a penalty, I actually think I was at the game. It was against Everton, and myself and ourselves were at the game, and he was man of the match that day. He was absolutely amazing. But he hasn't been the same keeper for 5 years. You know, a solid 5 years since we've seen David De Gea at his absolute tops, and we look at better back line when Dean Henderson plays for us. You know, I think getting De Gea's money off the books would be great. But again, I don't think it's going to be very easy because who takes him? If Atletico decide to get rid of Oblak, they could take De Gea in, assuming they're going to get, you know, 70 to 90 million for Oblak. Maybe Chelsea will come in because I think Donnarumma's on his way.
Donnarumma's going to be available very soon because
but he's on the way to Juve by the looks of it.
Yeah, Magnan has gone for 13 million to AC Milan.
To AC, and Donnarumma will go to Juve, which means the only slot open at one of the big clubs is probably Oblak to go to Chelsea, and then that you're looking at De Gea maybe getting off the wage bill at United. I know they've brought, as Mark's going to say, they brought Tom Heaton back in. He's going to play probably second fiddle, and then you'll have the lad Bishop maybe behind him, you know.
And like you know, Darren, as well, like the likes of Mata, you know, like you said, Daniel James, there's Martial, I'd get rid of him as well. There's a lot of dead wood there that we have to get rid of as well.
We're in the same boat. We have lads stealing the bleeding.
We're talking about Man United, Craig. Don't be bringing fucking Liverpool into every bleeding time.
We have to make them relevant.
You've had your shit season, right? Give us this moment in time to get over this loss in the fucking cup final.
Great season, boys. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You've probably, as Mark is saying there, you've probably got the guts of 10 players between De Gea, Jones, who again is still a Man United player, just for anyone that doesn't realise, Matic, Mata, James, Martial, like there's so many players.
Books, or is he permanent from Roma?
No, he's permanent at Roma now.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God that's one gone. But yeah, there's, you know,
Jones is on 90 grand a week, Darren, isn't he? Like,
holy J!
I think he's on more.
He's on more. I think he's on 110 actually.
Yeah, I think he's on more. That's right. Jesse Lingard as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
Jesse's,
think we should sell him anyway. Like, you know,
well, you're gonna look
Yeah.
to use him as a makeway, aren't you? Depending on who you go for. If you go
Declan
for
Rice and money.
Talk of that,
yeah, there's talk of that, or you throw him into the deal for Kane, depending on what you're going for.
In hindsight, lads, and I know it's always a great thing to look back and stuff like that. And of course, penalties are a roulette, so it doesn't really matter. Should Henderson have started tonight?
Nah. De Haye was the Europa League keeper all the way through. Stick by him, like that's what I think anyway.
But is that really the case? I mean, when you get to a final, like if you believe Henderson's your number one keeper, should your number one keeper not play in a cup final? As opposed to, I know you'll argue that De Gea played all through it and got you to the final, if you like, if that's the argument. But if he's your number one keeper, I'm sure he's feeling kind of shit tonight.
Well, De Gea only became the cup keeper after Henderson became number one. So Henderson had played in some of the earlier rounds, and again, like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place in a sense. If you take De Gea out and anything goes wrong, lads are gonna say, "Why did you change? He was our cup keeper. Should have kept it like that." But there has to be an argument to say, if Dean Henderson's our number one and we're in a European Cup final, albeit the secondary competition, he should have played.
I think it shows the strength of a manager to make decisions like that. I think, if that's Guardiola, you know what I mean, or Simeone or Zidane or someone like that, they're absolutely ruthless. And they will just play. I mean, the role of a manager is to play the best 11 tactically, obviously looking at tactics stuff but his role is to play his best 11 that he has available to them. And if your number one keeper is sitting on the bench while your number two keeper is in goals, regardless of who got you to the final, your goal is to win the final. And if that means being ruthless, I'm sure David De Gea wouldn't be too upset tonight if he was walking up picking up a winner's medal.
But Niall, in fairness, we're talking that like De Gea has made a big mistake during the game and
I don't mean
he hasn't in that situation.
Yeah. No, but I don't mean it like that. But what I mean is, if your best 11 is available, do you play your best 11? And if Henderson is the number one
as a manager, you think what's your best 11 against certain teams. You can't think about it any way other than that. You look at the team and the way they set up. Right, say De Gea let's face it, he had nothing else to do other than pick the ball out of the net and miss that penalty. If he scores that penalty, he's a fucking hero.
I'm not saying he's at fault for the loss. Don't get me wrong there at all. It's a penalty shootout. Anyone can win it. But what I'm saying is, if you're looking at putting your team out there, should you play your best 11 if your best 11 is available? And tactically doesn't really come into it whether it's David De Gea or Dean Henderson, because the goalkeeper sort of mix doesn't come into it unless you're comparing kind of a Mendy to a Kepa or something like that. But if you're talking about both those guys there and Henderson is your number one keeper, should your number one keeper play in the final of a European Cup final?
Well, how many of the backup players did he play outfield?
Exactly.
None.
In the starting 11.
In the starting 11, none.
Yeah, but
so then the keeper should have started.
Well, it's a flip of a coin, isn't it? When you think of it,
it's a flip of a coin.
What has De Gea done wrong this season in the Europa League?
Only in the Europa League. How many games he played in the Europa League?
He's played all the games in the Europa League. Oh no, sorry. Yeah,
no, he hasn't.
No, in the Sorry, I'm going back to the Champions League as well.
I don't think he's played more than about 4. So, and I'm not going to judge De Gea on basically what he does in the Europa League. I'm going to base him on what he does in his performances.
Well, lads, look
and earlier on in the season, De Gea was costing us points left, right, and centre.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that now. We're talking about tonight's game. What did he do wrong tonight? I'm not saying
that at all. I'm not saying De Gea cost you the Europa League final at all.
I know you're not saying that.
No, but what I'm saying is, in hindsight, if you go back, Mark, if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tonight at 7:00, do you put Dean Henderson on the page or do you put David De Gea on the page if you had the choice?
I'd still put David Haye. Like he done nothing wrong tonight.
Okay.
I think the same could be said for Unai Emery. I wouldn't have put Rulli in. I don't rate him at all. I would have put Sergio Asenjo in goal. He's reliable. He's more caps, I think, for Spain, or closer back up to De Gea for Spain, and he's the league keeper. Rulli's very dodgy. I know maybe tonight you didn't see it, but he wasn't tested enough in the air and stuff. He's not great goalkeeper, so when I seen him in goal, I was like, God, I don't know, if the ball comes in to Cavani or whatever, Didn't see it, but
yeah, again, I'd say, like, I'm not saying David De Gea cost you the final tonight at all, and I'm not saying that he's done a whole lot wrong. At times, he's been suspect this season, and then, of course, he had to go back to Spain
there's
for
no
a
doubt
month.
about that, yeah.
He went away. He went away for a month as well. Obviously, he was having the baby and stuff like that, so he was gone for nearly a month. But I just
he wasn't
think,
having the bleeding baby.
no, but you know what I mean. Still, like you want to be there for the birth of your child, and especially in a difficult, year like the COVID year that we are having stuff like that. But I still do think. I think once you get to a final, I think it's all gloves off, and I think you have to pick your best team.
I think when sentiment gets involved, that's when you're struggling.
Especially if he's going to be number one keeper going forward, you have to make him believe.
And don't get me wrong, that's not to say that Dean Henderson mightn't have given away a goal today or would have missed that penalty or might have saved one. It's all hypothetical and it puts a maybe.
He'd have done well to give away a goal because there wasn't a shot other than the goal in.
There wasn't. That's what I'm saying.
Do you know? But listen, I still think not even starting him, there was a case to bring him on for the penalties.
Definitely was.
With the record that Haye has against penalties,
What's Henderson like with penalties? Is he good?
He's a much bigger and physical goalkeeper. His frame is much bigger.
You would have got a bit more presence about him on the.
Yeah, they got a lot more presence.
Yeah,
and guys might have been seeing space in the corners like they did with this bleeding Boyafron in the middle of the goal.
I just think we're getting into the wrong argument. I think we're talking about the wrong side end of the pitch,
No, but the argument's not the goalkeeper. The argument is Solskjaer making the decision.
No, I know, I understand that, but I still say he done nothing wrong tonight. So I think his decision to pick that 11, obviously, let's not talk about the outfield players with the hair. I think it was the right decision.
Yeah,
I just don't know. I think if that's a Tuchel or if it's a Klopp or if it's a Guardiola. Like, I don't think Klopp would pick Adrian tonight over Alisson. I don't think Tuchel would pick Kepa over Mendy. I don't think Guardiola would pick whoever's number 2 over Ederson.
Darren, tell me, what would Dean done that De Gea didn't do tonight?
What do you mean didn't do?
But you're saying Dean Henderson should have
I'm saying from a goalkeeping point of view, right?
And I was a goalkeeper as well, so
Henderson has a much better presence than De Gea. Henderson will come and claim crosses all day long. De Gea won't, right? So physically, he's more commanding of that area. So if I'm in a penalty shoot,
we didn't have any.
You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. From a penalty shootout point of view, do I want a much bigger physical goalkeeper filling the goal? 100% I do, because the smaller the goal looks, the more pressure there is on the guy to put it into a corner, and then all of a sudden that's when lads start shanking them wide. But if you've got a small, De Gea's got a really small frame. I say second row behind the goal on the Stretford end. I could put my hands around his waist, right? He's about the same size as me 13-year-old. So if he's in the middle of the goal looks huge. Are you with me now?
Oh, no, I know what you're saying, Dan, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think where I'm coming from, it's not a slide on David De Gea in any way. You know what I mean? I mean, he's been an outstanding servant for the club. You know what I mean?
We're getting away from the whole. Do you know what I mean? We're going down a path that.
Well, no, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the starting 11 as well. And there was mistakes made there as well. Darren alluded to it as well. But I just think in those moments in a final is what really defines a manager. Is he willing to make those decisions to say, I know you got me to this final, but he's my number 1, and he's the one I'm going to put in because we want to win this final. And not that you would cause it. And I think they're the decisions that are made. And I think, when you see Mourinho, when you see Tuchel, when you see Zidane, when you see those top players top managers that we know, they really make those decisions at those times, and they go, I don't care. I'm here. I'm ruthless. I'm here to win a final. I'm not here to keep you happy or anyone else happy. I mean, there could be an argument tonight that Bruno should have been subbed off. You know what I mean? And can you imagine if he had a sub Bruno off tonight? Bruno would have absolutely had a meltdown, but he was bringing nothing to the game at that stage. Absolutely
but would there have been a meltdown if he brought Bruno off and whoever he brought on had more impact?
Well,
you know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. But in terms of heading towards penalties, and you took Bruno off with Bruno's record with penalties and stuff like that, that would have been something that would have come up and gone, well, you took him off, and you know what I mean? But then again, he brought on Mata and he brought on Axel. First touch they had was basically nearly the penalties, and they put them in the back of the net.
As you alluded to earlier, Bruno was looking tired coming towards the end of the 90 minutes. Yeah. Pogba, for me, did look slightly fresher. You could have brought Fred on for Fernandez, put Fred back into the middle with McTominay, and played Pogba as the 10.
Yeah.
Or bring
to
Donny
see
on.
if, and possibly move Pogba to the left, and then put Donny in as a 10 with Greenwood on the right behind Cavani.
Yeah.
There was other options there than what he did.
I suppose the decision on Greenwood versus Rashford is a big decision.
Yeah.
I think Greenwood now, I'm not United fan, obviously the two lads will know, but I think Greenwood is gonna surpass him by miles as a player. His finishing, I think, is outstanding.
He's got something that Rashford hasn't got.
I think he could be a striker, like a centre forward when he's older. I think he could be moulded into that.
Yeah, I think Greenwood's clinical, but I think with Rashford as well, if Rashford's not injured and he's 100% fit, he's unplayable. He's unbelievable. You know what I mean? So it's unfair to kind of judge him.
He's extremely indulgent though. Rashford, he flatters to deceive quite a lot. He gets the ball, he goes to the player, he stops. He doesn't go by the player. He tries to go by him a second time. He's not clinical in the way. And again, I'm not putting him in the bracket as someone like Ronaldo, but he plays at that left of a front three where Ronaldo played for United. Now, if Ronaldo got the ball past somebody right, if he got the ball past the right back, he was either going to get a shot on goal or he was going to put it on a play for somebody else. When Rashford gets by the right back, I don't think that's going to happen all the time. And that's a massive issue. He's very errant with his shooting. When he checks back in onto that right foot, he stuck it in the corner a few times like he did when he ripped Alexander-Arnold a new one. But how many times have we seen that since then? Yeah. That's the problem. And how many times has he checked back in, had a look up, there's 2 or 3 passes on offer, and he's picked the wrong one. And all of a sudden, you've a decision, a split-session decision that had to be made, and he didn't make the right one, and we don't get what we need out of it.
I think the scary thing with Mason as well is it doesn't matter if there's bodies in front of him. He doesn't even look up. He knows where the goal is in his mind at that age already. Like Kane, sharp shooting.
Solskjaer said about 18 months ago that Greenwood was the best finisher at the club, and he fully expects him
one of the best to play, in the league. I think,
to play as a centre forward. At the minute we're probably shoehorning him in there to get him into the team because of the quality he brings. But it's valuable for him at the minute because he's playing and he's training with somebody like Edison Cavani, and that can't be anything but a benefit to him going forward. And as he gets a little bit older, and he's still only 19, he's still getting bigger. He's gonna bulk up a little bit, and I imagine he's gonna be our number 9 for quite some time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean his goal ratio from chances is outstanding. I mean, he only needs a sniff and he puts it away. Mark, talk to me about the rest of the team then. Let's move on. I know you're steaming over the goalkeeper, and I'll say it again. There's no way I'm blaming David Haye on anything tonight, but I just thought, in terms of I was alluding more towards the manager making decisions as opposed to the actual decision and the players.
No, we understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying, when you think of it, and we're going to stay Henderson for a penalty shootout that's over 120 minutes away. That's the way. I'm sorry, I got up there. I had to put my laptop on charge.
No, that's all right. No, I wasn't talking about even for the penalty shootout. I was talking, should you play your best players from the start if they're available? That was the question, as opposed to the romance of, well, this guy got me here, so I really kind of owe it to him. No, you don't. You're supposed to win the trophy for the club.
I know, but there's an argument as well. Like, we don't be on the training ground 7 days a week. We don't see how these players are performing other than on the pitch in front of the TV screen for 90 minutes. That's the way. Yeah. So we don't know what goes through a manager's head.
Yeah.
Obviously in hindsight we can reflect on the game that just happened, but we don't know what's been happening in the lead up to that game. So it's hard to judge, what I mean?
Yeah, but surely he has seen Pogba. I mean, in those last few weeks when we seen the real Paul Pogba playing on the left, he was absolutely outstanding. And surely he sees that, and then he goes into a cup final and he puts Pogba back in that right position. You know what I mean? Like that. Makes no sense.
I said it to my dad earlier. I did Pogba score at any time. And then when I seen the team come out, I literally thought he was going to play off the left. Like I was saying to Darren, Brown on the middle, Rashford out right, then maybe bring Greenwood on. And then I seen him playing beside McTominay, and I thought to myself, no, he's not going to have an impact on the game whatsoever. And that's exactly what happened. Like I said, he didn't really do anything wrong. It was just that he was just getting balls and passing them out right, left. That was it. He was restricted in that sense. Like,
yeah. I think it's again, it's like what Darren said earlier, like just Solskjaer trying to shoehorn players in to keep players kind of happy, if you like, you know what I mean? Whereas again, he should be more clinical and say, right, well, this is where we've seen the best of Paul Pogba. He's going to have the skill to unhinge these guys, you know what I mean, and unleash his own players. So that's where he has to play. And if it upsets Rashford that he has to play out in the right, so be it. You're not here to make people happy. You're here to win trophies.
Yeah, like you said, you have to be ruthless.
Yeah, well, you see, these are the nights that kind of define managers. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at Solskjaer, if this was to continue, he's going to be out the door. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it, because, you know, where you see a little bit of improvement in the league and second this year and stuff like that. But if you look at the points differential between second and say fourth or fifth, it's not a huge amount considering those teams have pretty bad seasons, you know what I mean, compared to United. You know, so I just think it's a conundrum for Solskjaer that he needs to try and figure out where, you know, you have to play your best 11, and where you see those players play. If you're seeing Pogba play like that in those matches and he's outstanding, why would you ever put him back in that position again for a final? And especially against a team that you know is as dogged as Villarreal. I mean, it wasn't a surprise to any of us here, and not to Solskjaer either, that it was 2 banks of 4. They know how to defend. They don't give a whole lot away. They were barely, what did they concede? 2 goals in the whole of this tournament. That's unbelievable.
In the whole tournament.
Unbelievable, like, you know what I mean? And I just think again, it shows a little bit of the naivety that's there in terms of experience. And again, I alluded to it on the Road to Gdansk show that we did, that I thought it would come down to the experience of Emery versus the naivety of Solskjaer. And I think that's kind of a little bit of what played out tonight, you know, in terms of the substitutions and various other things like that, and putting players into positions. And I mean, that's all I can say about it, you know what I mean?
If you look at when Pogba plays for us, the deeper he plays, the more culpable he is and susceptible to errors, losing the ball on the pivot, and us giving away goals and chances. Whereas when we get him high up the pitch, like if we only look at the Villa game a couple of weeks ago, he's winning penalties, you know, willy-nilly, because of how awkward he can be in the opposition's box. You know, you've centre halves going on all over them. He's gangly, he's strong. You need him higher up the pitch. He's got to play in the final third of the pitch for United, you know, because his creativity alone, without the kind of fouls and the way he holds the ball up. I mean, at times, if he's holding 1 or 2 defenders, if he's holding 2 defenders off, there's space somewhere for someone, you know, and none of the other lads seem to be able to do that. You know, they can push the ball about and they can push it into areas, and we got little overlaps. But again, I just felt it played into Villarreal's, you know, into their lap. We'd have been much better off trying to get Pogba up against Torres or Albiol, you know, where they had to, you know, kind of jockey him a little bit, and we might have picked up stuff. We didn't pick up a free kick within 25 yards of the goal centrally.
Yeah. And Cavani was so isolated as well.
And we had 65% of the possession. You're like, this is a head scratcher.
Yeah.
You know?
And Darren, you've seen it when Pogba came on against AC Milan at San Siro at half time. He changed the game completely.
Yeah. His link-up play with Cavani is unbelievable when he's there on the left. It's incredible.
I think he's so different than a winger as well. As in, he has that physicality and presence. Not like a small winger where he's pacey, but he's, as Darren rightly said, he can just stay and keep the ball there for lads to make their way up if needs be, and hold it with strength, and he'll pull people out of position to go over and deal with him, because he's awkward and he's big. And
you're not gonna leave a right back on him.
No,
because
like
he's going to overpower.
Be able to deal with him tonight if it was.
He's going to overpower most right backs. In which case, the right-sided centre back will come out and try and help out, and then all of a sudden there's a bigger gap that somebody can get in, and there's that little hole where that little ball can be played in behind or around the corner. Yeah. And he's done it quite a lot with Shaw recently, where he drew Shaw's player. You know, he got the centre back to come out to him, and all of a sudden then he had space to square the ball around for Shaw. And Shaw's been in and putting the ball across the box for guys to come in and get onto it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, yeah, look, I don't know what else we can say about it. Obviously, commiserations to Man United. I mean, no one likes losing the final. And obviously, congratulations to Villarreal.
Fair play to them. They set up really well, and fair play to them. They deserve everything they got tonight, you know?
I think if you listen to what the lad said at the end of it, you know, Villarreal is a town with 50,000 people in it. Yeah. He said that's enough to put them in Old Trafford and still have room for
That's
another 30,000. You know,
Yeah.
so that's when you think of it like that, it's an amazing achievement for a
Yeah.
club that size. And you know, also, you know, we give out about owners and stuff like that. And the owner has put millions into the club. Now I know they've always been a conveyor belt of players, and they've always been able to make money and stuff like that. But he has kept them in good stead. He went out last year. He got Emre. He said, "Listen, I want to do what Sevilla did, and if it's possible, I know this is the guy who's going to do it." And tonight he's sitting at home having a glass of Rioja, thinking, "Wasn't that a good decision?" And that's
Really,
that's again what Noel goes back to about that being ruthless. That manager that was there last year wasn't doing a bad job, but your man saw there was someone out there that could possibly do a better one, and went, "You know what? If we want to win trophies, we got to go for this guy."
And Arsenal really quickly made an absolute holy show of him because he's a good manager and he's a master tactician. They did that to him and they caused that. I don't believe for a second that it's his fault with Arsenal.
And look what they
Group
brought
of players
in.
never delivered for him, and the club as a whole don't buy it at all.
The biggest problem for me with Arsenal is their fans. They're
Yeah.
absolute degenerates. You know, you see them two absolute clowns after the Arsenal games walking around with the microphones, talking to these drunk piss heads on the street, and they're just gibbering and jabbering out. And you're like, these aren't football fans. These aren't going to watch football. These are going to get absolutely hammered at a game of football. If that's the case, go to the local boozer and watch it. And don't be sitting there taking up a spot that someone wants to go and watch a football match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, lads.
And Noel, just can I say, me and Craig aren't wearing his and hers hoodies, by the way, our tops.
I have a German top on. You know you're top.
That's the proof. I thought just went for the two for the price of one in the COVID sale and one of the sports shops.
We were going to.
I went for the black t-shirt, but I went for the red stripes on my face instead, so it was easier.
Yeah, out of respect tonight, lads, I put on Adidas. So, lads, thanks for coming on. I know it's always difficult with losing a final, you know what I mean? It's a killer, but look, plenty of good days, I'm sure, still to come. This has been your Europa League final reaction from our European correspondent, our Villarreal fan on the podcast. And from
8-1 they were, and I didn't do it 6 months ago.
And our two resident Man United fans, without a shadow of doubt. A pleasure, lads. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Thanks, lads.
Cheers, boys.